mindful moments. Mental health tea with, I almost forgot. You see how that works? Like mental health tea with Dr. T. That's me. Good morning, family. Oh my God. Listen, if we cannot be real right here on my show, I don't know what to tell you. But I have something great in store for you all. Like I promised that Dr. Watts, Dr. T, that's what y'all know me as, Dr. T would be back with the podcast. And I haven't forgotten about you, family, like indicated when I did the little intro last week. But I just want this season to be so impactful to all of you, right? I want us to talk about things on this show that people are going through in their real lives, right? Like the things that we think about, we don't necessarily like vocalize it, but we think about it, right? Or we may know someone who's going through something and then we don't know what to say, where to start. And so that's what this season will be full of and packed with, is real life situations. And guess what, y'all? Like, you would be surprised of how young individuals are going through certain things. I go into the schools a lot. I'm talking to my guest already before I even introduce her. But I go into the schools a lot and I just watch the amount of teenage girls and boys that's going through things that most adults can't even go through or endure, right? So with all of that, I'm getting all into the show for real. Before I even I told her, like, girl, this is how it goes and XYZ, and here I am getting into the show. But I just want to say thank you guys for being here. So tune in, pay attention to this episode specifically. I have something and someone great in store. She's sitting right next to me. Such a brilliant young lady. Her name is Peyton, and Peyton is such an amazing young woman. Hold, please.
Guests featured on the Mindful Moments podcast willingly consent to participate and share their thoughts, stories, feelings, experiences, etc., with the intention of helping others while bringing knowledge and attention to certain topics. Adult guests ages 18 plus consented on their own unless an agent or other third party is involved, i.e. guardianship, power of attorney, etc. Any guest under the age of 18 has provided consent from their parent or guardian over the age of 18 who has a clear understanding and approval of the intended discussion and acknowledges the opportunity to request certain parts of the discussion to be omitted before the episode is aired.
And we are back. Hey, Peyton.
Hi.
So as I was saying, Peyton is our guest today. Peyton is a young lady who is, I can't even say enough about you. And she is a brilliant, let me start there, brilliant, humble, sweet, God-fearing young woman. And Peyton she has so much like life in her, literally. Like when I meet people like you, it's a reminder of who God is, his intention for mankind, and it's just refreshing. Like, it's refreshing. You're welcome. And I just want you to keep that thing that you have that most people do not have. And I do mean this. This is off script. Like, right? I mean this. Keep this thing that you have that people try to search for or they lose. Just no matter what life throws at you, remain true to who you are. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So, yes, Peyton is with us. Peyton is a young lady, and what we're talking about today, she's she's probably my youngest that I've had on the show so far. But Peyton has recently expressed, hey, Dr. Watts, I want to talk about this thing. I want a platform to be able to share my experiences of the thing that I went through. And I'm going to let her tell you the thing that she went through as she introduces herself before we go into the question part of this podcast show. But she expressed to me, she came to me, and this is how great she is. Like, she came to me and she says, Dr. Watts, I just got to talk about what I went through. She was in it. I don't think you'll mind. She was kind of in a fragile space when she came back to me. And she has given me consent to do this, obviously, because she's on the show. But for those who's wondering, this is what she wanted to do. And she's a young adult, so we didn't need a parent or a guardian to give consent. She made the decision to do this. And that is brave, Peyton. That is so brave of you, because a lot of us as adults go through things. And the problem is that sometimes we're not vulnerable enough to say, hey, I'm going through this thing. I'm going through anxiety. I'm going through depression, or these feelings of whatever, or I had a surgery and my health has changed. Sometimes we go through these things and then we keep all of the emotions inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot commend her enough, y'all. So let me go ahead and give the mic to her. Well, she has a mic already. But I'll just give it over to her so she can introduce and tell us a little bit about her and what brought her here actually today. Like, I kind of feel like I'm in a therapy session. What brought you here today?
Yeah, so I'm 18, and in January of 2025, I had a hysterectomy after getting diagnosed with endometriosis in the fall. And after my surgery, I just felt like there wasn't enough people talking about their experiences. I felt very alone with what I was feeling. Like, there was a lot of people that were supporting me, but no one really understood exactly what I was feeling and what I was going through. And you can look it up, and no one is talking about it. And it's something that I know a lot of people are going through, a lot of people are feeling. And I don't want anyone else who's going through it to feel as alone as I did.
Yeah. Wow. No, go ahead.
I just think it's really important to talk about something like a hysterectomy, where a lot of women, it feels shameful and it makes people uncomfortable, and it shouldn't be that way.
That's good, Peyton. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look up the actual term of hysterectomy. Hysterectomy, right? And a lot of us as women are familiar with the term, but I really want the audience to gauge with us as we dialogue and we ask these questions. I want them to understand what truly just happened to you, what decision you had to truly make as an 18-year-old young woman, just getting out of high school, going to college, having to make the decision, and we'll get into it in the questions that, hey, I can't do the college thing right now. And may I add, when I said brilliant, I think that was the first word that I said to you. This girl head has been on her shoulders ever since I've met her. Right? And before I met you, I knew your mom.
Yeah.
And the description of what your mom described you as and to be, you were that and much more when I met you. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This girl has her head on her shoulders. She is very assertive. She knows where she wants to go in life. That doesn't happen, Peyton. And I've told you this, right?
Yeah.
In a different way. I mean, we're on a platform. I'm trying to keep it like, but So again, hysterectomy, 18-year-old. Can you imagine? I mean, like literally people out there, close your eyes for a second. Maybe you have gone through it, but being 18 years old, can you imagine this being like your daughter, this being yourself at 18, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you, I'm going to be honest, Pete, I could not imagine like having to make that decision, because something about Dr. T, honey, I don't like people to tell me what I have to do, right?
Yeah.
Especially as it relates to my womanhood, right?
Yeah.
We'll speak about it. But let me read the definition of hysterectomy, okay? A hysterectomy is a surgical procedure where the uterus, the womb, the uterus is removed. This surgery can be performed for various reasons, including abdominal bleeding, fibroids, cancer, or uterine prolapse. Following a hysterectomy, a woman can no longer, and the reason I'm reading this because I want you to know the in-depth of what just happened to this young woman. And we'll talk as to why. But a woman can no longer become pregnant and will not have menstrual periods. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, so for my ignorance, and I have family members that have had hysterectomies or have hysterectomies, which is called some different type of procedure.
Yeah.
I believe, I don't want the medical professionals to like get after me, but like ablations and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I think there's something like that where you can burn the surface of like your uterus. That's a different type procedure. But I didn't even think, like, here you are 18 and now all like that's done.
Yep.
You don't even have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that could be a perk a little bit, right? So I felt that energy. I felt like you like, well, Dr. Ross, that part is okay, right? Dr. T, that's cool with me. But you had now, Peyton, let me ask you a question. What is it considered a total hysterectomy that you had?
I think it's considered a partial because I still have my ovaries.
You still have the ovaries.
Yeah.
Okay. So let that definition marinate in. All right. We're about to just segue into a different part.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, one moment, please. And we are back. We are back with Peyton. And we're going to segue, as indicated, to a different part of the session or the podcast. And I want to ask you some questions.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
I had to write them down because this is a very fragile topic, right? Let's talk about this. And this is not on the paper. This is what I love about this show, because we just go off the grid. We just talk, we vibe, and we're doing this thing. Let me ask you this question, Peyton. When you first came here, you came back, you approached me, right? And you said, hey, I need help with this thing. I need to get back in. Literally, and that's a whole nother part, but I need to get back in. I want to see you. I want to, this is what happened. Let's talk about that moment. Okay. Let's talk about your emotions. Let's talk about how it all happened. That's what I want you to describe to the people.
Okay. Yeah. When I decided to come back, I had just gotten back from a week-long trip and I was crying like 5 times a day. I was just so emotionally fragile and just like completely just a mess. I couldn't keep any of myself in check. I didn't know how to handle it. I was going into stores and I would see baby clothes and just burst into tears. Like, it was so hard for me to talk about. I had told my mom and my best friend, and that was it. And it was just, I could not talk about it without breaking down. And I knew that I couldn't handle it by myself, and I needed help. I needed you.
Yeah. Bless you. And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Because this young woman that is standing here, I have to say young woman, girl, because I'm older than you. Clearly. But young woman, and let me tell you, viewers, because you have to sometimes laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah.
Peyton, like I said, is full of life. She loves to laugh. She loves to have fun. She loves to smile. She's a happy, vibrant person. So we're laughing because you don't know her story. The things that she's gone through. Literally, that's like a church song, a praise and worship song. You can't feel her pain and what she had to go through to be here. So the person that she is today, she's worked to be this person again.
Yeah.
Right? She's worked to be this person again. And it just, as a therapist, as a clinician, as your friend, as part of your family, I feel like at this point, it makes me emotional. So I'm trying, Peyton, not to get so emotional right now as the tears come. Because you're like a butterfly,
Yeah.
And you came to me in the caterpillar stage. You did. And I said, it's okay. And I picked you up and I gave you shelter and nurtured that. And that's what we've been doing. That's what you've been doing.
Yes.
So that's how it all started again.
Yes.
Right?
Third time.
And it's okay. Listen, third time is power in that, right?
It is.
That is power. Because people think like, you see how we vibing? People think that, oh, I'll go to therapy. I'll go get help for this one thing and I don't ever have to do it again or whatnot. And you realize that this is a problem in my life right now. This is a challenge, rather.
and I'm struggling. I can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what did you do? You did the work. You took the initiative to say, you know what? I'm gonna call her back because I need you still. Like, and it worked. And it was okay. And without hesitation.
Yeah.
I put you right back in here because that's what we do.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Okay. Why didn't I bring the tissue over here, Peyton? Gosh. All right. So first question for you. This is a little bit of, you've already done the introduction. You already talked about what led you to but talk to us about what life was like before your diagnosis. What was your diagnosis? So what was your diagnosis? What was life before your diagnosis? I guess I said it right the first time, right? And why did you make the decision at such a young age?
Yeah. So I started becoming suspicious that I had endo in January of 2024. And it was just, before that, had been able to pretty much do whatever I wanted. I could just live my life. I didn't have to plan it around this stuff. I love to drive. I love to go on road trips. But it was starting to affect my daily life. Like, if I would get the really bad pain when I was driving, I would have to pull over, and I just wasn't safe to drive. And I graduated high school in May of last year, and I was supposed to go to college in Nashville.
Yeah.
And I just realized that there was no way that I could move across the country by myself, move into a dorm room with someone that I didn't know very well.
Yeah.
And there was no way that I could do that physically, because I was in so much pain every single day. So I spoke to my doctor, and I got into my OBG, and we scheduled the first surgery, which is how they diagnose you with endometriosis. There's only one way, and they have to cut into you. Unfortunately, I don't know how in the year 2024 and 2025.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they figured out. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, wow.
Wow. That's something.
Yeah. So I got the surgery. They found endometriosis, and they were pretty sure I had adenomyosis as well, which is very similar to endo, but it's even more painful. And then having both of them, it really, really sucks. So I ended up not being able to go to college. I stayed here. I got that surgery. And then I talked to my OBG, and she gave me the option to have a hysterectomy or stay doing what I was doing and having the pain. After the surgery where they diagnose you, it's supposed to have at least like 6 months to a year where you have no pain. And mine started back 2 weeks.
Wow.
After.
Wow. 2 weeks after? And it was supposed to be 6 months.
Yeah. And it was just right back as bad as it was.
So you knew at that point, and the doctors knew at that point how severe and how long you had been going through this thing.
Yeah. And I just thought it was normal. Like, I didn't think anything of it. And I remember this day, I was working as a barista because obviously I couldn't go to college, like I said. And I was working in the drive-thru, and the pain got so bad that I literally fell to the ground in the fetal position in the middle of my shift. And my manager came in and found me, and she had to drive me home because I couldn't drive. I was in so much pain. And that's when I knew that I kind of had to do this because it wasn't a life.
Yeah.
I didn't have any good quality of life. And after my first surgery, they told me that I had, there's a 99% chance that I would never get pregnant. If I somehow got pregnant, that I would be able to carry the baby all the way to term, and that I wouldn't die in labor. There was a 1% chance that I would be able to get pregnant, have the baby, and not die.
1% chance. Oh.
Yeah. So I scheduled the surgery, and I remember whenever I was telling people, I had a lot of different reactions. Some people just had a lot of sympathy, but it felt more like pity. And then some people would just straight up be like, you shouldn't do that. I had a man tell me, you shouldn't do that. You're going to regret that. He told my father that he shouldn't let me have the surgery.
Wow. So this, if you want to move those beads, you can. Because I'm like, somebody's chiming over here. Listen, because I want people to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So all of the naysayers, all of the opinions came to you, and you realized at that point, what did you feel then when you knew that people You emphasize a man.
Yep.
You said that like twice.
Uh-huh.
A man got the nerve. That's what you want to say, huh? Yeah, girl, I'll say it for you. A man had the nerve to say
Mm-hmm.
what you should do. So then another person telling you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or another thing or something telling you what and how you should respond to this severe issue
Yep.
that was life-threatening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was literally life-threatening. How many years had you been having issues?
Now looking back, probably ever since I like started having a cycle, like since I was like 10 years old.
Wow.
It got really bad in the last like 2 years, and my mom's always been the same way. My grandma's always been the same way, so I just assumed this is how it always is.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an opinion, and
Yeah.
people act like because you're young that you haven't thought this through, that it's not something you've considered, that you just make this decision because, oh, I don't want to hurt anymore.
Yeah.
And you put a lot more thought into it than
just
people
that.
think you do.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, Peyton. You doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My guests mean everything to me. And I have to make sure when we talk about certain topics as it relates to yourself, I have to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So those were some symptoms. Those were some signs. That was the deciding factor. Now, my next question was, how did you and your doctors arrive at the decision for a hysterectomy? But you just explained it. When they went in, it kind of made it for you.
Yeah, and a lot of doctors, when I went in to my appointment after my surgery, I didn't think my surgeon was going to let me. A lot of doctors refuse it. I think the average is 5 to 6 years for a woman who's seeking a diagnosis to get a diagnosis, and for the doctor to let them get a hysterectomy. Getting a hysterectomy at 18 and having the doctor let you do that is so rare.
It is.
I'm so blessed that my doctor
you
let me.
are. You are blessed, and you have such a great team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really do. Like, I love your doctors. I'm like, a girl, I want to go work for her. Like, yeah, okay. Like, I want to go work with her.
Yes.
But this is so good. And you are blessed. You said it. You are blessed, because they would have been like, they would have been passive in most cases. Like, no, let's wait a little longer. But again, life-threatening.
Yep.
These were things that you have been going through probably from the age of 10.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're now 18. So it's like, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And so at what point, like to the point where it was affecting your ability to function daily.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had to make the executive decision to say, you know what? Nope, we're going to go through with this thing. We're going to, no matter what people say, the man, that's in my head right now. The man who, or the others who were around, and this is obviously no names are mentioned, but it's hurtful. It's insensitive.
Yeah. To
this young girl who was like, oh my God, like my whole life is changing.
Mm-hmm.
How scary. If I could, an emotion, let me ask you, if you can just describe in one word the emotion that you felt, what would it be?
I was sad. Yeah. And then I was angry at my situation.
Yeah.
And at everyone who had an opinion on a situation they didn't understand.
Yeah. Y'all, do you hear what I'm gonna have her back just to be like my guest, like my co-host. Because this girl, like, that was powerful what you just said. To have an opinion about something that they don't even know about.
Yep. Yeah.
As it relates to you, because it differs from person to person. Now, get it. We know that, just like I looked up the word hysterectomy, we can get one definition, but it applies to every person differently.
Yeah.
Because the reason why is different. Right?
Yeah. And endometriosis is such an under-researched condition.
That's a whole nother session.
Yeah. Like, the fact that you have to get a surgery to even get a diagnosis, and we don't know why it happens. We don't know really anything about it.
No.
And I had a small piece that was causing, like, the tiniest little speck that was causing all that pain, and some people will be covered in it, and they're fine.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. You've educated yourself.
Yep.
Guess I should have did my homework a little bit more. But you've done a good job of, see, this girl is not that girl. Like, she is like, let me figure this out. What is going, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on? And why is this thing a thing? Like, she will do her own research. And when I tell y'all, it's reliable. It's reliable information. So, you talked a little bit about the people around you. So like the family, the friends, their reaction to the diagnosis when they first heard of it. You just told me about the sadness that you felt initially. When you said sadness and then anger, kind of you were going, and I think that you could have kept going.
Yeah.
It's almost like a grief process.
For sure it was. Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me. How do you think that it was like a grief process?
Yeah. So going into my surgery, I was really excited, honestly, just to not have to deal with the pain anymore. And I didn't really think about how it would affect me after it had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So before the surgery, I was fine. And then I remember I was on the table. They just wheeled me away from my parents. I had already was starting to go under anesthesia, and I just got scared, I guess, just a little. Like I was scared of what I was doing.
Yeah.
I don't regret it at all.
Yeah.
But then after that, once I started to recover physically, is when my emotions really started happening. And I truly went through the grief process of, it feels like you're losing your womanhood, even though you're not. And it feels like even though there was the 1% chance that I could have a kid, I was grieving the chance, the option of what could have been. And the fact that I was given these circumstances and like other women can just have kids. And it was a lot to accept that this is where I'm at, this is who I am, and that like this is what God put me into.
Wow. A lot of key things there.
Yeah.
You actually just answered my next question. Y'all see how this works?
Yeah.
And that was the question was, how have you handled the emotional impact of losing your uterus at such a young age?
Yeah.
You just answered that, right? So were there any moments you felt misunderstood by others? Like whether it was peers, your doctors, your family, your friends, what have you?
Definitely. Family, I guess, because I don't talk about it a lot. A lot of people just assume that it happened and I'm fine. And then a lot of people think that because it was a decision that I made to have the surgery, that I shouldn't feel the way that I'm feeling, that I shouldn't have been upset about it afterwards because it was a decision, but it didn't feel like a choice. I felt like I had to do this or else I couldn't keep living the way I was living. I couldn't hold down my job. I would never go to college. I didn't know how I would survive.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to think about. That's a lot to figure out. That's a lot to hold on to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That most people would just explode.
Yeah.
But you took the matter into your own hands and you started at point A, and that was with you.
Yeah.
Right? Bravery. That's the word that I hear. Bravery in the middle of your traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then being young, all your friends are at college or they're meeting new people. They're not where you're at, and like they're supportive, but truly they don't get it, and they're out having fun and doing all this stuff, and you're just going through a lot. And there's not a lot of people that you can talk to that have felt the exact same way as you. It's hard to find those people.
Wow. It's hard to find those people. Wow. We'll be right back. And we are back. So the last thing that you said to me was it's hard to find those people.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard to find those people. It's hard to find your tribe. It's hard to find people that just kind of rock with you. You know what I mean? Like, just let me go through this thing with me and not against me.
Yeah.
So let me ask, as we start to wrap this up a little bit, I feel like the time has gone so fast, Peyton, and this lets me know that I'm going to have to bring you back. Yes. See? Yes. We're bringing her back for a second part of this because I'm going to do a recap and things like that. And I'm thinking, let me not tell you my thoughts right now. We're going to wrap this up, okay?
Okay.
I do want to ask you this question. Have you thought about how this will impact or affect you in your future?
Yeah.
Like, what have you thought about? And I know you're young and I hate to ask certain questions, but we've kind of spoken about this thing in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
Okay? So let us know.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about, and it was something I really put a lot of thought into
Yeah.
before, knowing
Mhm.
that, like, I'm single and that if I, like, the person that I'm going to be with, you have to find someone who's going to be okay with the fact that you're never going to have biological children. And that it's something that's probably always going to emotionally affect me a little bit. Like, I will never experience pregnancy, and that is something that I made the decision to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I it's a lot, but
Mhm.
also I don't regret the surgery at all because now I know that I will be able to live my life and I won't have this pain following me everywhere I go. I don't have to think about it all the time, and
Yeah.
I just feel kind of free about that.
That's good,
Yeah.
Peyton. That's really good. So, 2 last questions for you. And I thank you for that. Like, she gives such like great answers. I elaborate and we dialogue, but I just want these things to sit with people. 2 things I want you to leave with the people here. What support systems have helped you through this thus far? And what would you say to people to encourage them if they are going through this, if they have to make the decision, to young people, to parents of young people, to supporters? What would you say?
I would say that you need to find a couple people that get it and that they're going to be there for you and support you through the hard times. I remember being in a store with my best friend and I just started crying because I saw a shirt and you just, like a baby shirt, and you just have to find those people that you can talk to about it that aren't going to think less of you or say, see, and this is why you shouldn't have gotten the surgery. Find your people and journal. You need to get it out. Don't let all those feelings bottle up. Don't feel ashamed that you're feeling the way you are. It's normal. You have to feel your feelings. And even
That
though
sounds familiar.
even though it was a decision you made,
Yeah.
it was something you were kind of forced into. So it's okay that you're upset. Feel it, get it out, and be gentle to yourself.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's wisdom. I don't know who you got that from. But sometimes we have to be a reminder to people, right?
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of you. Thank you for being here, Peyton. Clap it up for Peyton. Leave a message, a comment to encourage this young woman in the text box, in this YouTube, wherever you are in the world, watching or listening to this podcast. Say something like, have you experienced this? Like, and what can you say to uplift her and help her to move forward? I'm a believer of iron sharpening iron, as the Bible indicates. So let's sharpen her iron. All right. All right. Thank you, family, for being here. Peyton, she's coming back, y'all, for a part 2. Y'all know how we do the part 2s. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Bye.